So after that, I want to talk about this because this is also important. Trump sought to undermine COVID-19 response, says panel. Now, first of all, before I get into this, we already knew this. A report came out last year when Trump was still in office that the USPS, the Postal Service, was going to deliver 5 reusable cloth masks to every household in America, right? And then Trump, last minute, they were literally about to start delivering them. Trump gave a phone call and said, don't do it. If people have masks in their mailboxes, they're going to panic. And then my approval rating is going to drop. Imagine in April of 2020, imagine where we would be right now if everyone got masks in their mailbox and Trump was like, all right, there's going to be a pandemic. Things might be a little tough. It's only going to last a couple months and we'll get through this. He would have coasted to re-election. There would be no such thing as or need for January 6th. There would be no such thing or need for election misinformation. He would have been able to coast to victory. But he chose not to because he's just that fucking stupid and crazy. So again, we already knew that, but it gets worse. The Trump administration deliberately undermined the nation's coronavirus response for political purposes, including by weakening testing guidance and championing widespread herd immunity, according to a new report from the House panel investigating the pandemic response. The staff report released Friday, that's today, was a summation of the year's work investigating of political interference in the pandemic response from Trump officials and the former president himself. In interviews with officials and from uncovered emails and other documents, the committee found that the former administration failed to heed warnings about supply shortages, blocked public health officials from speaking publicly, and neglecting the pandemic response in order to focus on the 2020 presidential election and on promoting the lie that the election was stolen. Right? So again, there's multifaceted. In the beginning, he lied. In the middle, remember, we'll be open by Easter. Remember, with nothing. We'll be open by Easter, right? Then the election comes around. He had COVID during the first debate and knew about it 3 days beforehand. The fuck? Okay. But let's keep going. New evidence released Friday showed the Trump White House intentionally softened the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's public health guidance for faith communities. I don't even know what that means. Jay Butler, the deputy director for infectious diseases, told the panel in an interview he was pressured by the White House to publish guidance for faith communities that softened some very important public health recommendations, such as removing all references to face coverings, a suggestion to suspend choirs, and language related to virtual services. So, okay. My question is, I think anyone involved in this, Jay Butler included, guilty of murder. Send them to fucking jail. If someone tells you to kill someone and you kill them, guess what? You killed someone. It doesn't matter if you were just following orders. Who cares? When the White House tells you to soften the response to the pandemic, you know what you do? You immediately run to the press and resign. Anything else means you are complicit. So all of these motherfuckers that went along with this are guilty of murder. But will there be any accountability? No, because this is the United States of America. You can kill people as long as you kill them in the right way. It's fine. The most prolific serial killers in world history is probably governing officials in the United States of America. These motherfuckers are ruthless, they're evil, and they're disgusting. Oh, you're telling us about it now? Well, thanks a lot, Jack, or Jay, I should say. Thank you for telling us almost 2 years later that you participated in a giant murder scheme. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. But again, this is shit we already knew, just slightly more details. All they did was pander to fucking religion. And they covered up how severe the pandemic was going to be. They fucking didn't really they opened up this lockdown. First of all, North Carolina, where I live, never locked down to begin with. Right? So this is like a fucking Mandela effect thing. You know, whenever people say during lockdown, there was never a lockdown for most of Americans. In North Carolina, I locked myself down. Right? But there was no lockdown, right? Every once in a while, I would still go to the grocery store, and there was literally, it was as crowded as they ever were, and no one had masks on. There was never a lockdown in half of this fucking country, right? So it's like a Mandela effect, Twilight Zone kind of a thing. Oh, back in quarantine. What quarantine? What the fuck? What country did you live in? Because it's clearly not this one, right? So again, they're all complicit in murder, as far as I'm concerned. Jay Butler, go fuck yourself. You did not do your job. You failed to help the American people. And again, I say anyone responsible for this cover-up, anyone who participated in this cover-up, is guilty of murder. The only correct response is resign and run to the press, leak all the documents, and go from there. That's the only appropriate response. Anything less than that is complicity.